I've been in Atropa, but a little bit late. But I mean, you're not really never late in this kind of ecosystem, because you can create every day a new token and you still make money. So, but I learned more in the Sony ecosystem. It's same, but when you buy you buy A token, and then you go to B, and then you go to C token, but you just with, like, you put just $100, but you follow the path, or you buy the B, you buy the C token, and then when you launch the D token, you buy and you put some more. Like with $100, you can make $100,000. It's crazy. But he can do this forever. He can create a new token today, and then the profit you make, you just buy more, and you just amplify your supply, of the tokens. So you can do this infinitely, and so it's like infinite money. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And James Atropa can do the same. He can create a 1 million token. He can create infinite token. Every day he can create a new token. Maybe not every day, but let's say 1 week, every week. So you inflate. It's like an inflation. You can just, even new people arrive here, they are not late. Maybe they are late in Teddy Bear, or late in Dawn, or I don't know, Annabelle, or whatever other token. But
It's
if we
just
create a new token now, they're just gonna start from now. But it's the
it's
line is
just
never infinite line.
well, it's tremendously difficult to do that and then actually support your holders. And I think that's what and make a secure system. And I think I mean the most degenerate aspect or of that type of strategy is like on Solana, where they just launch a new meme coin and then pump and dump over and over and over, and they just keep doing the same thing and wrecking most of the people that get into it as exit liquidity. And so like Atropa was very interesting and unique because nobody knew what he was doing beforehand, and it was all discovered from real blockchain sleuths. But with Sunny, I think it was a bit different because he had a following already. So, and with him, it's like a little bit more dangerous because once if he loses his name, basically, loses his reputation, then I think it could, have a lot more consequence. Like there are a lot of people that lost faith in Maria James after like CIA and especially in the MV situation. But I think like
Yeah, but this
none of
doesn't
that
matter.
was about purely extracting or making money. It was about keeping balance within his system. So, but it definitely scared a lot of people away, which I also think is part of his overall strategy. Like he's not trying to. He's always seemed to me like he wants real solid players involved. He doesn't want to just make people that understand how to speculate rich. And allow them to extract value. So it's
Yeah,
like there's
but
been
yeah, I think it doesn't really matter. Even it's actually even good. Even me too. I lose money in MV because I didn't understand. I thought I didn't understand about the minting function and everything. But actually, I lose money. But now from now, I mean, I don't see it that I lose money. I just say it like, okay, what I lost, what I pay for that for MV, and kind of lost it. Yeah, but it's actually I paid to learn more about what is really MV, and then so what I lost is no, I just paid for to learn, and then now I know what is MV. From listening from Sunny, because Sunny after he explain it what is really MV. So and then so this kind of, when you lose money, you don't really lose money, you just learn, you make a mistake and you learn and say, okay, now every time Maria just create a token, I'm just looking the contract. Now I learn how to read the contract. I learn like you go to decompile and everything, and you just look. Okay, is there is or you can even use AI and or can you read this contract? Is there a min function or is the contract has been run on or whatever? So all of this I learned just because I lost money in MV. But yeah, like I said, for me now, I don't think I lost it. I just okay, I make a mistake. I let's say I put I lost $1,000, but no, I pay $1,000 to learn from this. Now I don't do the same mistake, and now I make even more money. But I had to go there. So the people who lost money in CIA or MV, I think they just make a mistake and now they learn their lesson, and they I think they are even more knowledge. They have more knowledge and they are more
because you need,
expert in the.
yeah, you needed, yeah, you, well, first that helped bootstrap that all that minting and the money was helped to bootstrap the other launches as well. So like, and you also need big failures, like big companies to fail, to especially at the beginning of the shock of the system. So when there's a lot of volume and there's a bunch of hype going on, and then all of a sudden something fails and it starts causing a bunch of disbelief in the system, that helps you start it starts putting you through a market cycle that otherwise wouldn't have been there. So what they've done whenever they created the racist tokens or whatever you want to call them, they're helping us move through market cycles faster. If you want to look up what ecometric ecometric, which is the equilibrium within the cycles, and smaller, more valuable communities go through them faster. There's always a larger one, right? There's always the big, large one that we see, but within crypto markets, it's been proven independently of the all most of them independent. The ones that are mostly independent are the ones of private blockchains, because anything but them and their stables, technically how we operate. So, I mean, it's just being able to pretty much cause dumps whenever they needed dumps. Because anytime someone dumps with the smart bot automated market maker, that means that they're profiting every trade. Um, that's one of the reasons why they're letting their stablecoin flop from 75 cents to 25 cents. But that's also why they're able to provide a 30% fixed rate yield, right? So if you're letting your thing flop around up and down 30%, knowing that you're the one taking the benefits of arbitraging it first, um, then you're paying it back to your community. It's absolutely brilliant. It's because they're still making money as well, right? Paying 30 APY out versus actually obtaining a what from 75 to 125 would actually be a 50% increase. So they that's 20% a trade that they get to keep, and depending on the volume itself, right? And not just that, like every single buy and sell, right? They can always, like, even though it's at 75 cents, right? And the person receives it for 75 cents, they can pretty much lock that up into a reserve for $1, because at some point in time it's going to reach back to $1 or over $1. And so as that happens, they can start storing these tokens on one side or the other. So like, say if they keep selling it at $1.25, right? They can just keep taking that $1.25, that extra 25 cents, and they can put it on one side of the pool, or the other way around. If it's 75 cents, they can take the losses, and then they could pump the gains that they had back into that one. So it just gives them more control over the price because it's such a wide range, and it just makes sense because you're also looking at a fixed interest rate. Um, and then at that point, you don't need any. If you're going to allow your token to fluctuate 50%, which in all reality I think is a brilliant idea, then you have more than enough time to adapt to whatever the market conditions are going to do. Like, should you continue to try backing it at 25, or should you start backing it more at $1? It makes more sense to be like, oh, let it run an extra 25 cents. So then you're doubling down, at that point, just because you know that it's technically still $1, but people are paying $1.25 for it. And then when it does fall back below, you're profiting either way, and you're able to incentivize the community. So it's a very, very unique model, and I think it's different than anything that we've seen. It's different than what dye is. But end of the day, they're going to have something called WP dye, right? It's wrapped dye, and wherever they unwrap it, it's more likely going to be pulse chain. That's where it's going to matter. Um, and even then, the understanding of what could their wrap die do, right? Like technically, their wrap die would be a reserve currency for us, right? Um, and like not only would they be able to help back their own protocol, but it's something that if the lifeblood of the entire ecosystem is going to be based off of DAI's dollar value, why wouldn't they, um, you know, provide the way to pump the value, and then also if it's shorted down, I mean, again, they can still always push it back up to a dollar, or at least be the ones that arbitrage in or out of it to make the difference up. Because even though it says it's 75 cents, like to people, like for them, they're always trading it at a dollar, right? If you're the owner of the protocol, like even though it says $1.25, it's a dollar, right? Even though it says 75 cents, it's a dollar. For everyone else, right, that's trying to actually try to catch these things, they're getting it for the actual difference on either side of it, right? But it's gonna be hard for them to beat these bots as we've seen before. So it's just
Right,
kind of
because
like,
the protocol is setting that price on purpose to
yeah,
get back to the ratios that
yeah,
it
yeah,
wants
yeah.
to be one. What do you think about USDT and USDC though? Because um
Like I'm
you
not
know
like
it's
I would if I would do anything with them, I would pair USDC with the copy ETH. I would get the version that's worth a dollar, and then the version that's not worth a dollar, because you don't get anything out of it. There's no, you still don't get any, you don't get any value out of it, right? If you put $100 in any stablecoin pair, you're only going to get $100 out. You'll only either, or if you say if you did two P stables, right, and you bought PUSDC and PUSDT and you paired them, and I'm talking you put 1 million of them in there together, right? Whenever they pair, you're literally going to have the value of where it is whenever you put it in there, bro. So like if it's a $2,000 and everything runs that time, both you're getting a permanent loss on both ends, like dual and permanent loss.
yeah.
So
Well,
you
the thing
don't.
I'm just curious about is we're not seeing like all this Maker and Spark, type of stuff happening with those two that I'm aware of,
Oh
and
no, that we don't. The
and
thing is, I we thought I thought we were going to need them, but he gave them their protocols. He has the admin keys. The fact that he can use SDAI on Ethereum, and that he's over there buying an SDAI, which is a MakerDAO key as well, and that he's able to mint DAI with SDAI, like he's using both of those protocols on Ethereum, which means he owns or has both the protocols on Pulse. So we don't even need them. I thought we would need them because of that for voting or for anything. Nope. We just get we get to use their protocols, which is even bigger.
right. Well, I was just thinking about it like in terms of like
Oh, they're coming. As far as money and stuff
liquidity
like that,
because
yeah, they're coming.
yeah,
They
because
some of their pools are the ones that are coming. Like there's Lido pools, there's compound pools, there's Aave pools, there's curve pools. They're coming.
right, okay,
Yeah. Like I'll
right,
like
right.
I'll just more like I'll be like I'm gonna be doing some stuff tonight, but I can literally show you. Like I stopped counting after, like, I believe one of the pools was all for die, and then I'm sure if you go type in Lido, there's gonna be a pool for just Lido stuff. And so they've literally, because the blockchain wasn't just the Ethereum blockchain wasn't designed that way. Like before Pulse went in there and revamped it, right? And then they allowed Pulse to go in there and run this type of revamping or rendering model to where they could, you know, categorize everything, understand, and then that's whenever they found out, the debt that was actually in the system. And even though yes, it does track debt, there's, like you said, there's different things that clearly can't be tracked, or that can purposely be left out. And then that whole system being ran for Ethereum was probably why they were able to run the Deacon, get the Deacon upgrade, is because everything was already upgraded for the Deacon model to be plugged in because they zipped everything up and made it closer. So whenever you're thinking about it, you're thinking of a bunch of files being spread out everywhere. So you're having to pay a lot of gas because you're having to get into this folder to open up this folder to go into this folder to go into that folder. Now that Pulse went over there and zipped up their files, it literally what used to be 30 clicks and $30 is now 3 clicks and $3, right? It's because you're not having to travel down the highway as fast. So again, I think there's a lot more to it going on than we could imagine. I think I think Hexagons would think that's crazy, that he would actually have friends, but it's like this dude is a multi-billionaire, owning large percentages. God knows what other tokens he owns, and if he does own all those values and all those liquidity pools that I've seen, then it's no wonder they're listening to him. Um, but I believe that they're using the restaking narrative that was created by VCs, right? That's draining value out of Ethereum. So instead of Ethereum having to fight for it, they're just taking it and pretty much giving it to Pulse and saying, here, y'all hold value on it because we know that the fucking VCs are pretty much going to run off with it here anyway, and harm investors. So, might as well
Wow.
let
Yeah,
y'all
that's a
allow y'all to
really
get
good
it.
point.
Because the restaking narrative is absolutely fucking garbage, bro. It's all VC funded. It's all garbage. It's all fractionalized. So instead of it fractionalizing them again, they're like, no, 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 you take it, right? So you stay less fractionalized. You are a reserve currency for us, right? So if anything does happen, I mean, our bridge is super active, right? It's not like him and Vitalik aren't friends, like they want to do what, especially someone like Vitalik, right? I mean, Richard doesn't maybe doesn't look like the guy that's the one that's the hero in all this, but it's very obvious and very clear that when you do enough thinking, and yeah, like some of the stuff, yeah, just comes off the top of my head. There's, could that be right? Fuck if I know, but it makes sense because that's what we've been talking about. Like, oh, they just minted
Well, if these
500 million.
protocols have the keys on both sides, then they're not really losing anything. They're only
Exactly.
gaining.
Correct. And I mean, that's the whole point of wrapping. And I mean, they do it in real time, real world finance all the time. Is they stabilized versions of things, and that's what's traded in the market. They don't take the fucking actual real gold and put it in the market, and people trade the real gold. They're just trading fucking made up intrinsic fake value anyway. So why not take some of that fake made up intrinsic value anyway, and instead of giving it to the fucking people that literally just fractionalize the system, because to leave the system with gains, they're going to have to eventually make their way to ETH, so they're going to be unstaking their stake and then unstaking their other stake. Like, it's just, I think it's too many layers too deep, for them. And on top of that, you got the layer twos and things like that. Pulse chain itself being ran the way that it is, it'll scale in speed easier because it's off chain consensus, which is why they're able to run the stability module on it at all times on the front ends of all the dev networks. At least 50, I think it was around like 50 or 60% of them. Um, and that if you go fight now, you can go read MakerDAO. You can go read MakerDAO right now, and it talks about how they use bots and things called keepers and this company called Winter's Mute to have a governing oracle system that is based off of artificial intelligence that's running inside their own mechanism, their systems right now. So we know that it exists. Like, the question is, like, how deep does the AI go, and how much deeper can it go? I think it can go at least a couple layers deeper, as in it can help design the governance rules for Ink. If Ink becomes, or maybe another type of incentive token is brought into the realm or the mix of things. We don't want Richard Hart having too many coins, because the more tokens he has, the more value gets spread across them. Um, but that's exactly why he pumps the other ends, because they're going to be like, well, if he was able to pull that off, I don't care if he has 5 tokens, I'm holding them all, right? So, and I believe that if he did drop anything else, it would be something only beneficial. Like,
Yeah, a lot of
he
people
might,
thought it
I mean,
was going to be a
it could
wallet
literally,
token, and I was always against
right?
that idea.
No, it could literally be pulse chain now is pegged to the price of gas, right? One pulse is you to start moving gas around, one pulse or whatever, right? Um, Technically, they'll throw the gas price up, but I'm just saying in theory, right? Pulse turns into the gas token, right? That's the token that's backing everything, so it helps control the gas. It doesn't necessarily have to pump, it won't be there to pump everything up, but that's whenever another token could be coming to play, and say, whenever you're using the gas token and you're burning it or whatever, you're minting real pulse or something like that, and that's the one that has value. That's the one that could pump up, and it's still, since it's the same two tokens, it could technically still ride a wave like that and still keep the price of gas down, in theory. Hold on one second, I'll be right back, walking inside the store. But yeah, that's the exciting part. Is, I mean, of course they're going to let it pump, but there's just a lot of sacrificers. There's a lot of real value of, well, not, well, the thing is, pulse chain's value was super inflated to begin with because hex was up to 30 50 cents when they first sacrificed, so those people were already up 10,000x. So you're talking about these guys sitting on a 10,000x that had to wait 2 years, and now all of a sudden they get another 2x, so they're sitting on 20,000x. Of course they're going to exit some. Maybe that's a bad thing, or maybe that's a good thing for the actual ecosystem. But I did damn sure made sure that the AI itself understood to not worry about it right now, take care of this, get mass adoption this way. And I mean, I'm sure the the models that it ran, this was the way that the most seemingly way to do it, based off of also like what the community's doing, right? Which is why we saw so much action happening over the past couple of days. And today, not quite as hyped, but still just trucking along. And I think that we're just going to continue to see that. And I don't think it's going to be because itself is pumping. It's because the community is pumping it, and then after that,
Yeah,
it
the
just kind of,
narrative's the whole thing. It's like what you're saying. They
yeah,
don't they need to take that value out of Ethereum without freaking people out on the one hand, and then
right,
over here we need to bring in a lot. We need to bring in the adoption.
yeah. Here's my theory on the ecosystem that I'm launching. It's going to be a three level system on three different chains with two teams, right? There's going to be the community itself will be divided in half. One team will be a part of like team growth. One will be a part of team liquidity. So whenever I launch the first round, um, which will be me and the red team launching it, right? So um, I'll tell them what the tokenomics are, things that they can do. I'll be giving them admin keys, and like not everyone has to participate. That's fine. You don't have to participate. But at the end of each of those little rounds, whoever wins, the team that wins splits the liquidity pool with the other with that team and with the community, right? And then if the white team wins, they split it, and then the other half liquidity comes back to us as well. So like, and as these little games are going on, um, there's like certain things that you can do that are inside the contract that could, as soon as you get more than 51% of the supply, the admin keys technically could become yours, right? So there's just different little
Oh,
mechanics like that.
yeah,
And the thing is, it won't
interesting. I
it won't be and
You
it won't
blew
be
my
capped.
mind when you started talking like that, but then I was reminded of what James is doing with like rewarding benevolent holders and giving them
Yeah. Yes. So that's exactly
it's
what I'm
very
doing. And
similar.
yep. And the idea of the having two tracking things is I'm going to use one of the tracking um, explorers is going to track all of our wallets solely, right? You're just going to be able to go onto a dashboard and to see which wallets are doing what. Which, if you were part of Team White, you would, for that week you did what, or Team Red you did that, whatever. I mean, and we don't need to have everyone active every week, right? We might have to have a schedule for it. If there's a lot of people that are signing up for it and they want to be a part of it or witness it, because I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, just to be able to go in and just watching charts move up and down, implement bots. There's no real cheating that you can do, right? Just certain techniques that can be done and utilized within in the contracts. But at first, everything's going to be kind of basic, um, and then also knowing that things that you're buying into and are selling out of are always giving y'all rewards, both of y'all, and then at least half of that money is getting put right back into the main protocol, and then who knows, maybe the winning team still sees value in using that to backstrap their next launch, right? So then which is what should happen, right? They get half of it, get ready to launch their next one, or start getting ready to build their other ones, because as soon as that round of 10, that first round of 10 contracts are taken down, we're going to the next chain, teams flip sides, and then we go at it again. And then eventually it's gonna become a popular thing, in my opinion, to where it's gonna be like dev wars. We're gonna have people that are actually on BSC that want to like go up against us in a 10v10, your chain versus my chain, tokenomics, open game theory, and whoever like literally put up 5 grand, and whoever wins that, the liquidity pool goes to them, you know, and we all throw, then I have to throw in like a whatever buy into it, or it can just be done for fun. Everyone join their group, everyone join our group, um, and then we just start talking about the dev wars, and then we start sponsoring other teams playing against each other, and that would be a first of its kind, literally an MMO on the blockchain written by smart contracts that'll eventually be able to be visualized due to what y'all saw that I could turn into a visualization. Imagine doing that through the mempool of a battle, like as a battle's going on versus whatever the name is, like Pulse Trends versus fucking Crypto Kitties. Imagine that battle going down, that we're buying each other's pools and things, and then taking a snapshot of that and wondering what text to image comes back with that battle, and making NFTs out of that.
Well, you could actually really turn it into an actual game, like on another,
Yeah,
after
exactly.
you've
Look at this.
gone through,
Yep,
you
go
could
ahead.
make a real game out of it and have actual
Yeah,
users like take part and be part of it, like who choose
yeah,
who you think's gonna win, put in
yeah.
$10,
Well,
and
you put in
ultimately,
that.
if it's popular, everybody will make something, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Well, see, the idea, I had another idea about doing it was something very similar, but it was more of so it was the token, or I still might do it because it was like the first thing that came to my mind about the Atropa ecosystem. So I like World of Warcraft, right? So there's going to be 3 different layers. Like you had to own a race. So you had to be a dwarf, so it's either alliance or horde. You had to pick your character. You had to pick if it was a hunter, a tank, a healer, this or that, right? And then you got to pick your weapon, and then you got to pick your spell. And then as you're playing that, you would go to a Telegram group with me in it, and I would already gotten the AI's answer into who wins the game, and like how many points they lose by or something like that. So literally just kind of play the game, and then if the AI was right or whatever, everything goes into a team token. If the AI was wrong, then it gets split out against everybody. But to be able to take place in the dev wars, both teams would have to come up with an X amount of money to start each side's liquidity pool with, right? And then like at first it would probably just be like basic tokenomics, um, and then just being able to have like NFTs that can be shuffled and given to people, to where it's like, every 15 minutes the other team can draw and play an NFT that increases the sell tax by 15%, or that decreases the whatever by 5%, and you know what I mean. So it can benefit. It can be used to help leverage the ecosystem in a way, and so it's just not a bunch of buy pressure or sell pressure going in. It feels like they're just kind of throwing their money into something like that. I mean, there's going to be minting and burning as well. So like understanding how the ecosystem works, and going and buying this other token that's cheaper at the time, and then coming over and then literally just swapping and burning, and you're depleting supply, and by depleting supply, you're pushing your market cap up. And there's just like, yeah, certain little things that you can use like that, or just take at that time. Maybe the best thing to do if you want a fatter liquidity
well,
pool would
have
be
fees.
mint it, pair it, and then put it in liquidity, right? That's what you should do. But it's like that's the type of mechanics that people will have to learn, because it's just not easy to teach. But that's the whole point of the ecosystem, is to get people to understand that liquidity is what matters, and certain rules and certain regulations that the game or the whatever is applied to at that time you know is going to be existing, for that whole round, right? So if that token over there is always minting, that, like, what can you do with it, right? You can go mint it, buy tokens, and put it in liquidity pool if you have to, or go mint it and just burn, swap and burn. Um, so yeah, there'll be different mechanics within each of the 10 tokens themselves.
It's awesome. Yeah, I learned liquidity and budgeting and everything else from SimCity when I was like 12 or 13, because the first city I bought crashed hard because I just blew all my money. I had no idea about economy, you know.
Right.
But so the next one, like, it was all I needed was one hard lesson. And yeah, it's amazing to watch like all the tokenomics go on in these games, but
It
it's
is.
all, you know, fluff. It doesn't mean anything. And I'm like, God, this would be so easy to turn into an actual economy, pay to
Exactly.
earn economy. And you know, there's regulation. That's what I find
People are gonna
interesting
love that
about
kind
what.
of thing because it would literally turn into like an MMO style game, pretty much is what it could turn into. Because like whenever someone's buying a $5 whatever, it's gonna be cheap. It's gonna be instead of doing $5 to do a spell, it's gonna be like point oh oh 0.003 pulse to do a spell or to cast a spell or to open a treasure chest, right? You're not gonna have to pump it into these charts, right? And that's another way I can set these charts up in a way to where the max buy is like 30 cents, right? And then you have to use the tokenomics and you have to use the actual game theory to win. You cannot pump the chart to win because it's set up to where you can't buy more than this. If you can't sell more than this, stuff and things like that. Um, so the mechanic itself cannot be not necessarily money driven, but you know people can put a little bit of thought behind what they're doing.
And have fun, like, and make it
Yeah,
easier.
exactly.
Like, you learn so much about the economy, about like how to deal with that kind of stuff when you're
Yeah,
doing it
and
in the
you'll be able to
game.
talk. Yeah, and you'll be able to talk to the AI too, and be like, all right, well, fucking, layer three, token two, whatever its name might be, is, doing this action. You know, like they will know. They're the ones that launched it, right? So it's just being able to figure out the puzzle that they're going to lay out. Um, there's gonna be certain, of course, there's gonna be certain ways that you'll be able to find out, quicker than others. Maybe it's written in the contract. You know, maybe the contract's not verified at all, right? So, but yeah, that's the one thing that we have to be very careful of about serial launching is just make sure that if you're trading a contract, honestly, I would just get a new contract address and play the game that way. Um, and you don't have to because we can literally just take your points and add it all together. But contracts will definitely be safe. But I mean, if you do feel uncomfortable, there's always that route. Um, but I wouldn't play with your fucking main wallet, is what I mean. Play with the condom wallet where you drop it $30 and that's your game wallet. You know what I mean? Like that's your little, and that's how anything you ever connect to the web to any website to do anything. That should always be your first thought is I'm not using my fucking treasure on here, am I? So
Yeah, that, of course, that you think that would kind of go without saying, but you could easily just almost make them, you know, create a new wallet just to kind of like how the Telegram bots work, where they can still
yeah,
export their private key or their seeds to another, you know, wallet of their choosing, but to interact with that protocol, they have to start up a brand new fresh wallet or something.
yeah. I mean, I can definitely. There's a definitely ways I can. I know for a fact I can like set on-chain wallets up. Like, so that's one thing, like a safe wallet. I mean, that's why I'm using the vaults anyway. Number one, just for the vaults. But like, you can set like literally like on-chain wallets out. That just like a wallet, but it's sitting on chain. You can do deterministic. You can literally do a deterministic launch. So whenever you launch something on an EVM chain, it launches the same contract address on every EVM chain. Um, Um, and then you can also do the same thing with a wallet. Like whenever you're calling a function, you can make it look like you've traded the ownership to someone else, and you can make it look like that person is making the calls in all the functions, but it's not. You can just kind of do it through their wallet. Um, so yeah, there's definitely some unique things to it. I mean, again, I think these are all things that are very important that need to be learned, and you only learn them, whenever you're out doing this type of stuff. Let's see,
When I got hyper like paranoid about security, that was like one of the first things I learned how to do is like
right.
start my own node, Like I was just imagining, like, okay, if everything went down, like the internet was there, but like all the front ends were down, like how would I access my stuff? And it's really not that hard through gas. Um, like I ran my first node off a Raspberry Pi. I haven't done it in a long time. Like I'd have to revisit how to do it,
Yeah,
but
well, I know David's like his instructions are really good. The only issue I would have is just like make sure that it's up running 24/7. I wouldn't mind paying for one like literally tomorrow if I just knew that it would be up and running and I had access to it and that it like would it matter where it's located? Would I get better connection if it's closer to me? Should I, or you know what I mean? Like, or is there someone closer to me that might have
well,
it
it
to
depends
where
on what you want to run. Like because you
okay,
don't need a full node, like to
so
just.
first yeah, so at first it's just going to be straight like for the two explorers to and then for a few bots. I mean, that are having to constantly look at these things. So some of the bots they don't have to. The prices I know are different. It's in and of itself. But as far as like, because the first thing I was going to do is I was going to build my own streaming website. So I was gonna find all the stuff that I thought was valuable that I was going to need or that we were going to need for our protocol, and I was going to use that by off of Block Atlantic. I was going to use the same type of build that they did because it's everything that you need from the mempool to the gas and to to just provide transactions and to use to trade. So like I looked at DeFi Llama, there's a lot of chains, right? It's like how many chains do I need to, the more chains that I'm doing, then I would have to worry about, actually getting a node on those chains. So um, definitely just want the one for Pulse because that's the one that are going to be the harder nodes to not necessarily come by, but the ones where I can make calls on it as far as I want. And then what we could do is we could leverage that in a way to where other people can put their money into the vault or into a vault and they can still get paid APY um, without being screwed over. Like, you know what I mean? Like they can come in with only 5 million pulse and put their 5 million pulse in there and get paid, at 1/6 less than the, of a full node, you know? And so we literally have consensus inside consensus, so to speak, because we can literally vote like, okay, well, if someone's an OA or like an origin, and like a lot of the money was raised, like the 32 million, like 50% of it was raised by the community, then we would literally vote and say, well, it doesn't go to them, that goes to the other people. It goes to that the other 50% goes to the other holders within that pool, right? Um, ETH kind of did the same thing by concentrating it, but it causes 51% of tax. The difference between us is that it doesn't matter how concentrated we are, it's still different nodes. And it's not the same thing. Which is why they wanted to do proof of stake, delegated proof of stake. But it's my favorite because you can literally delegate your tokens to somebody and they still might. So you have 15,000 tokens and you can just say, all right, I want this person to be able to stake my 15,000 tokens for them so they get a higher APY. So, and honestly, it's no different than what I was just laying out, but it's just a more decentralized mechanic because, it's being done, autonomously, so to speak, versus us having to do a little bit of math, writing a smart contract, and then it being done autonomously, right? Uh, but I just think like that's big time utility for people, especially newer people that don't have that type of pulse, and they themselves being a part of the community can be able to call functions on that node. Um, you know what I mean? It's just right. I just think, and just in general, like I don't need the craziest tokenomics in the world to make these things make sense. I just need to have a reasoning for people to have it to be able to hold them. Like number one, you pulse token and staking it as gas for life, right? So you're able to not only own the node because especially if there's a game, like if there's a fucking game coming, like look at the bottom two of what I posted here. If there's a fucking game coming that shows you where the liquidity is and when people are awake and sleep or what they're clicking on, and like you can literally walk into a house and you can find out what exactly is going on and what they're buying and why they're buying it, and literally interact with it as if it's almost like it's a metaverse.
It's amazing. You got me.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I mean, it's gonna be like, and I'm gonna be launching another. I am gonna be launching a stable coin. I'm almost back to the rig. My phone's about to die again.
Yeah, you got my mind all wound up with ideas I can't even talk.